My name is Mason Coates. I'm 25 years old and I'm a transgender man. I have taken the time to reflect on my journey, and I tend to do that quite often, guys. I like to think about the lessons that I've learned throughout my journey. And I think we all should do that. There's nothing wrong with kind of being in tune with our emotions and trying to figure out why we're feeling the way that we're feeling. Right, guys? So my journey starts back to when I came to Canada when I was 2. I was adopted from Romania along with my identical twin sister, Ioana. We are best friends. We are attached at the hip from day one. We would do everything together. We played sports. We were tomboys. We were athletes. We did everything together. Okay? Before I move forward, I'm going to plant the seed. I want you guys to be able to kind of make the connections. This is how he came to being his authentic self when he knew something wasn't right internally. Okay? So, we were athletes. We played all different kinds of sports, to flag football, to baseball, soccer, competitive hockey, basketball. We played everything. And we love sports. So, we also would wear boys' bathing suits. We would wear boys' boxers. Anything we could wear that was boys, we would do. We got boys' haircuts. Like, I'm talking like mushroom cuts back in the day, bowl haircuts. And my mom wasn't happy about it. My dad wasn't happy about it, but we were just on cloud nine because we loved it, because we felt like we were the boys, right? Without really knowing that, if you know what I mean, right? We weren't aware of what we were doing, but in the same breath, we were, if that makes sense. But so we lived in Sandy, Utah for a little bit. We moved there when we were 7. And it was a fresh start for us. So we were wearing boys' clothes and stuff. And my mom dropped us off at school one day and was just like, all right, you girls have fun. I'm like, okay. And that day, don't know why we thought about it, but it was probably my idea, was like, we should change our names. Like, I'll be Dylan, you'll be Kyle. And Joanna was like, okay, that's weird, but okay, sure, like, let's do it. No one knows us. Sweet. So we did that. Then we made some friends, and those friends actually lived in our block, and we had no idea. So when they said, oh, like, where do you live? And we told them, they're like, oh my goodness, I live around the corner. That's awesome. So then one day they came and knocked on our door, and they were like, oh, hi, miss, is Dylan and Kyle home? My mom was like, sorry, they don't. And then all of a sudden we knew it was them. And we're like, Mom, don't worry, it's for us. Don't worry about it. Just go, Mom, go. Right? Like, yeah, we can come out and play. And then my mom was just like, okay, whatever you guys are up to, that's fine, whatever. Right? So we were known as kind of the twins, but that we were boys, but then they found out that we weren't, which kind of sucked, because we loved being boys. We were wearing our dad's bathing suit. We go in the hot tub, and the rule growing up was that you can wear the boys' bathing suits up at the cottage when no one was around, right? And because we were young, nothing had started to change, right? So we could get away with it. So there's one seed that we planted. That was when we were about 7 or 8. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. But when it really started for my mom, when she really kind of knew that something wasn't okay, not saying we were crazy, but that internally something wasn't okay, was when we went to the mall. It's Christmas time. Sat on Santa's lap. And you won't believe what I asked him for Christmas. I asked him for a penis. And my mom shot up and grabbed us, and we went in the car, and she said, listen, honey, you cannot ask Santa for a penis for Christmas. But why, Mom? Like, I've been good. I've been so good. Like, what's wrong with asking Santa for that? Like, you told me, like, I've been good as well, right? That I can ask Santa whatever I want. Honey, it doesn't work that way. Santa can't bring you parts. I wish. Man, right? And so my mom's told that story at so many dinner parties. It's the funniest thing, right? And growing up, I almost felt like humiliated. Like I'm like, oh my goodness, like mom, stop. But now I think it's hilarious, right? Like it all makes sense, right? Take the time to reflect on your past and see if there's reasons as to why you're the way that you are. In high school, what was high school like? What was high school like for you guys? High school for me was like my sister and I, we were social butterflies. I'm telling you, we were known as the jocks. I was about to say jerks. We were the jocks. We were the sport gurus, playing, intramurals, playing for different sports teams. Like every coach wanted us to be on the team because we were, and not to make myself out to be like a huge deal, but I have no point. I mean, I have no problem sharing the fact that we were gifted athletes. We weren't book smart, but we were gifted athletes. Not saying we were dumb as a doorknob, but we were smart, but we were exceptionally great at playing sports. Sports came very easy to us. So over that time in high school, when you're figuring out who you are as an individual, are you going to go party with people? Are you going to focus on studying? Are you going to be that athlete, right? My sister and I, we weren't partiers because hockey consumed our lives. And playing high school hockey while playing rep hockey while going to school and at some point having a job was time consuming, right? It filled out all of our time. And we were so okay with it. There are points time that I came out was when I had to tell my family that I was gay. All right? Let's back up a little bit. Growing up, your parents want you to be happy. Your parents want you, they hope, their vision for you is that you're going to either marry a guy or a girl, whatever it may be. Right? My dad, even though knowing how consumed we were with sports, was like, so, got any boys in your life? Every time we would see them, we were just like, see him, because our parents did, unfortunately, separate when we were in high school. So every time we had to go over to my dad's house, he would say, so, any boys? Any boys? Any boys? Any boys? Dad, stop. Like, no, like, we're not interested. Well, you guys need to be social. Like, get out there, meet people. Thinking like, bro, like, I'm 15, 16. No, right? And all the guys were my bros. Like, it was that broship, a bromance. That's what it was. They were my brothers. I never looked at them in any other kind of way, and I thought at some point, because my dad was kept on saying, like, any boyfriends? And I thought, like, maybe, should I try? Like, right? Have I kissed a boy? Yes. Did I like it? No. Right? So it came to a point where, I'm like, you know what? I came out to my sister. And I said, listen. It was so easy to come out to her. And I just said, by the way, like, I play for the other team. And she's like, what? What do you mean? And I'm like, and I'm gay. And she was like, oh my goodness. That's so awesome. And I'm like, all right, like, thanks. And she was just like, well, no, if you're happy, honestly, I want you to be happy. And if you're happy, that makes me happy. I'm like, oh, thank you. I love you. And, what siblings do, hug it out, and like they become, no matter what, like, they're your number one supporter. Right. So then it got to a point where she was like, when are you going to tell mom? When are you going to tell dad? And I said, I don't know when I'm ready, but I'm not ready yet. But, time has gone by, right? And I started acting different. Didn't notice, but my sister noticed. My mom noticed. And my sister said, like, one day we were walking home from school and said, like, you need to stop being such a jerk, man. Like, what is your deal? What is your problem? Why are you so uptight? Like, I've literally, like, you've changed. I'm like, I haven't changed. Leave me alone. And she was like, my bad. And then she turns around and was like, you know what? I bet it's because you haven't come out to them yet. I bet you anything. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. But was she? No. So, and then she's like, you have to come out to mom. Well, you have to. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. So as we're walking home, we get home, and my mom's vacuuming. And when my mom cleans, she's in the zone. Absolute in the zone. And you don't really kind of want to interrupt her because, like I said, she's in the zone. And so I came home. My mom turned off the vacuum and was like, hey, can you please take the garbage out? And I was like, no, mom, I just got home. Like, leave me alone, whatever. And then she just looked up at me and was like, what is your problem? I'm going to be honest with you. I've noticed a huge change in you. Like, what's your problem? And I said, nothing, mom, literally nothing. And then my sister said, just tell her. And I was like, you must be out of your mind. There's no way I'm telling her. Like, no, just stop. I told you. Not your story to tell. And my mom all of a sudden was like, what's going on? What aren't you telling me? And I'm like, Mom, it's fine. Just stop. Like, I'm fine. I'll figure it out. I'm fine. And she was like, and took a step up and said, you're going to tell me right now what's going on with you because I know my child's acting different. So you better tell me right now. We're not going anywhere until you tell me. You're not moving anywhere. So tell me. And I was like, okay, Mom, like, I just, like, it's like, I don't want to, like, I'm not ready. Like, you win. What's your problem? You know? And then my mom's like, focus on me. It's okay. Whatever it is, just tell me. And I was like, okay. Mom, like, you know how Dad bothers us about not having boyfriends? And she was like, yeah. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to say one thing about that. If you are not ready to have a boyfriend, I don't care. The longer you wait, the better for me. And I'm like, okay, Mom, it's kind of related to that. And she's like, okay, like what? I'm like, she's like, just tell me. And I just started crying. She's like, oh my goodness, like, it's okay. Just tell me. And I'm like, I'm into girls, Mom. And I just started bawling. I've never seen a woman climb a flight of stairs so quick in her life. She grabbed me and held me and hugged me and just told me it's okay. And I was like, Mom, but like, I was just so scared to tell you and this or whatever. And then I just started like hyperventilating. And she's like, just breathe. It's okay. It's okay. And I'm like, but Mom, like, and she's like, you can tell me literally anything. My love for you will never change. My love for you grows each and every day. And the fact that you are scared to come to me and tell me, what have I done as a parent? Have I failed you in some sort of way? And I'm like, Mom, you didn't. It's just that fear. It's something big. Because I know that what you have planned, and the idea that you've got planned for me, like, I'm not going to marry a guy. I'm not. And I don't want to disappoint you. And she said to me, the biggest disappointment that you could ever make would be to not be your authentic self, to not be you. That's the biggest disservice. And I was like, okay. And so that was done, and I took the garbage out, and I was just so happy. I felt this weight just off my shoulders. Didn't realize how I've been holding on to all that stuff for so long and how it can consume you. It can drive you crazy, right? So then it got to a point where I'm like, all right, gotta tell my dad. Jokingly said to my mom after the conversation, was like, well, I guess I can tell my dad, not into boys, right? And my mom just laughed it off, right? Like, and she's been so supportive. So I told my dad, and the way I told him, don't know what was going through my head because I was just awkward about it. And my dad's kind of an awkward guy, so I was just kind of like, all right, let's play a game, Dad. So I went over to his place and I said, all right, so I'm going to give you 3 guesses. Just guess. And he was like, okay. He's like, you have a boyfriend. And I'm like, what's with you and me having a boyfriend, man? Like, No, but it's kind of related to that, Dad. Your sister has a boyfriend. I'm like, Dad, no. He was like, you're talking to a boy? I'm like, no, Dad. I'm like, so there's a reason why, Dad. There's a reason why I don't have a boyfriend. And he's like, okay, why? I'm like, because I'm into girls. And he was just like, what? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you serious? I'm like, yeah. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, all right. So, and I'm like, yeah, so you can kind of get off my back now about me not having a boyfriend. Can you do that? He was like, yep, absolutely. So that's kind of how that went down, which I think was kind of funny at this point. Like, it just kind of look back on it, it was just like my dad was just like over his head. He had no idea. So the next person that I wanted to tell was my grandma. Nanny Hansky, that is my mom's mom. She used to come over to our house all the time, for weeks at a time. We loved it when she was over. I talked to her, still talk to her every week. Maybe sometimes twice a week, depending on the week, right? Like, she's my nana and I love her, right? And I want to be able to be my true self. So, called her one day, and I said, as I'm about to dial the number, I'm like, Mom, I'm doing it. And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm going to tell you, here, Mom, that I've got a girlfriend and that she's going to come to, Christmas. And she's like, okay, just breathe. Like, you're fine. I'm like, okay. And then she picked up. I was like, hi, how are you? And she's like, I'm good, dear. How are you? I'm like, I'm great. I've got something to tell you, but I don't know how to tell you. I don't want our relationship to change. I don't want you to think differently of me. And here's that fear again. And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, right? So she's like, honey, I love you no matter what. I don't care what you are. I don't care what's going on in your life. Are you happy? Yes. Have you hurt anyone? No. Okay. It's all good. So what is it? And I was like, I'm thinking to myself, she might know already. Okay. So I'm like, so I've got a girlfriend. I'm not into boys. And all of a sudden, she literally, I think I remember her getting up, putting the phone on speaker. I was like, hello? I thinking to myself, oh my goodness, please pick up. Like, please say something. Say something. I'm like, hello? And then she was opening a door and closing it. Kept on doing it. I'm like, are you okay? And then did you hear that? I'm like, yeah, why are you opening and closing a door? And she was like, I'm just like, finally, And I'm like, oh, so you kind of knew? She's like, yes, honey, yes. You're tomboys. I knew something was different. I knew it. And I'm happy for you. And I'm thinking, like, this is a great conversation so far. And then all of a sudden, she's like, yeah. And, like, so I got a girlfriend. Her name is Siobhan. So, like, she's going to come to Christmas. And then she's like, oh, of course, honey. You and your people can come. I'm thinking, like, me and my people. I'm like, she's a person, Nan. Like, she's my girlfriend. And then she's like, yeah, of course, honey. Like I said, you and your people can come. I'm like, it's my girlfriend. She's like, yep, your girlfriend. Sorry, your partner, your girlfriend. Yes. I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. So, at that point, like, everyone knew that was closest to me that I wanted to know, But then kind of word got out, I kind of, it got to a point where it was kind of, I normalized it, right? Like, it was just like, hey, here's my girlfriend, Siobhan. And everyone's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. Like, it wasn't like, oh, like, cool. Like, it was just like, it was so normal, which is great. And my family has been so supportive. My mom's side and my dad's side have been so supportive. And they both have been like, you could be a dinosaur and I don't care. I want you to be happy. Are you happy? Yeah, sweet. I support you 100%. As long as that person's treating you right, I'm happy for you, right? And so, I'm going to take a step back, guys. I want to say something, is that I've been so fortunate to have such a loving and supportive family, and that having a loving and supportive family support system is half the battle. So, making sure that you're reaching out to LGBTQ2 plus youth, making sure that they're safe, making sure that they feel loved is so important. Right. So, moving forward, Christmas was great on my side, but growing up at that point and being gay, coming out as gay, my partners over the years, their family was not okay with it at all. It got to a point, guys, I'm going to be honest, and it's nothing against my exes in any way, or even their families. I don't hold it against them. I've learned to let it go. Right? But at one point, one of my exes, like, the parents, like, her mom had to be intoxicated in order to talk to me, which was hard. I had to be kept a secret from other family members. I'm thinking, like, you see me coming around to all these family events. They're gonna put 2 and 2 together. Yeah, well, like, they're not supportive. I'm like, but because I wanted to be, like, I was so proud and out that, like, I wanted the whole world to know. Right? And that was hard for me. It was extremely hard to feel like you weren't good enough, that you weren't the real deal, that you weren't the person that they envisioned you being with, being with their daughter. And that was hard, because I like to say that I was a pretty cool person. I still am. I have feelings, and it hurts when I'm looked at like I'm not worthy enough, right? Everyone's worthy of love and to be loved unconditionally, right? So I wasn't getting that. I wasn't getting the love from the family, but I don't hold it against them. I never did. I never hated them. I felt sorry for them. And that's what I would say to my exes and say, I feel so sorry for your family. And they're like, well, why would you do that? Like, I'm so angry. I'm like, no, don't be angry. Feel sorry for them. But they don't have it within themselves to be accepting of everyone. That they have an insecurity in here about themselves, that they have to project this onto us. It's okay. We're happy, and that's all that matters. But yes, having a loving, supportive family does help. Having girlfriends. While I was in high school, I would be wearing, boys' clothes and everything, right? Like, I was happy. I was wearing boys' boxers, and I thought, like, man, like, I'm loving it. But I remember at some point, guys, in high school, I believe it was grade 12. And I had felt like, all right, I'm with the girl. I'm super happy. I'm happy with this relationship. But there's a part of me that's just, like, not feeling fulfilled enough. What is it? I want more. And I remember for the longest time, I would just go to bed angry and upset and cry, thinking like feeling like I'm just this, like, something's not right in here and I can't figure out what it is. And, it got to a point where I'm like, hey, like I wish, looking at my buddies and them being shirtless, and I'm like, man, I wish I had a chest like that. I wish I had abs like that. I wish I had a penis. Why did Santa have to let me down? Right? And then I kept on thinking to myself, like, there's got to be something out there. Like, I can't be the only person feeling this way. But in that moment, I was like, I'm a freak. I'm an absolute freak. Like, what's going on? So I remember being at my dad's, and I was home alone. And I YouTubed. I came across, I was like, girl wants to be boy. On the YouTube. And all of a sudden, it came up. Girl has facial hair. Sounds like boy. I'm thinking, like, what? What is this? What? And so, like, I remember squealing. And I was like, thank God I'm home by myself. But I was squealing, and then I watched a video, and I'm thinking like, and I remember sitting on my bed, I was like, I'm not crazy. One of us, one of us, one of us. Right? Like, I was just like, oh my goodness, it all makes sense. There's other people here that are just like me. That's amazing. That's amazing. Sweet, I'm not crazy. But then all of a sudden I thought, like, I went to bed, and I slept so great that night. Woke up and I'm like, all right, you know what you want to be. You know who you are, not what you want to be, who you've always been. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense. I'm a boy. Right? My mom, I didn't tell my mom till later on. But with the girl that I was with, when I first thought that I was trans, I told her, I'm like, listen, this is what I feel. This is who I am. Turns out one of her really good friends was transgender, and I had no idea. And his name was AJ. And so I had told my girlfriend at the time and said, all right, my name is Colin. Can you call me Colin? And she was like, absolutely. I'm just so happy for you. But in that moment, throughout that relationship, which obviously ended, once that relationship ended, the feelings of me being a boy, wanting to be a boy, kind of shifted. I think it was because she wanted someone with a penis, with the total package, and I didn't have it. So I was trying to be that person. And I'm like, and that kind of scared the crap out of me. So I kept that to myself. Right? But I did end up telling my sister about it and saying, this is how I've been honestly feeling. I've always wanted to have, I don't like my boobs. I don't like them. I want to have a penis. I want to wear boys' bathing suits all the time. I want to be shirtless. Okay, well, then, she's like, but listen, like, that we're focusing on hockey and we want to play professionally. Like, this is like, this is what we've had. This is our dream. Like, this has always been our dream. And I said, you're right. You're right. I'm sorry. You're right. So I kept on shoveling that down. And with my mom, because I was the child that was ADD, that like perseverated, that, wanted that immediate need for gratification, was always searching for that and new things. So my mom was like, listen, you're focusing on school. You can't focus on this transitioning or whatever you think that you are. School. And that's what I focused on. My first relationship when I was in university, which I'm actually still friends with, this girl, but I didn't end up telling her about me being transgender. I didn't tell her anything. Right? Which was kind of hard. By the time I was like, this is who you are. Like, I'm gay. I'm not transgender. I don't want to be a boy. But then I kept on acting out and didn't realize how I was treating those around me. Like, my family, was just like, they just assumed that I was just stressed because of university, hockey, and, focusing on studies and hockey. And it was just, like, it was so much to take on that maybe that I was just kind of consumed with that, and it was kind of stressing me out, right? So I kept on shoveling it down. But then it got to a point where I don't really want to get too much into it, but obviously hockey stopped for my sister and I. There was a human rights claim against the university. That can be another little chit chat for some other day, but if you guys wanted to Google Coates, Coates versus Brock University women's hockey, we are the first case that was brought forward in all of the years of the women's hockey team at Brock University. Was not a great experience by any means playing for the women's hockey team. We were bullied. We were harassed. We were treated less than human. So that all came crashing down we us because throughout life, guys, my sister and I were the hockey players. That's all that we literally knew. Lived and breathed hockey. Walked hockey. Playing sports games on, our PS4 or whatever, Xbox. Like, it was hockey. Every Olympics, we would watch the women's team and say, that's going to be us, Mom, one day. That's going to be us. We're going to be on that screen. And we're going to be so proud. And so, we can't wait to bring you, Mom. We owe this all to you. All to you and Dad. We don't know what we would do without you, Mom. Without your support. And pushing us to be better. Pushing us to stay focused and stay on the path that we were meant to take. So, all that came crushing down. It was all because of politics. There's so much politics in university sports, it's not funny. The message that they sent to us was, it doesn't matter how talented, how much heart you have, how skilled you are. If you don't know people, if you're not the coach's daughter, or if daddy can't get you, if daddy doesn't pay, you're not going to make the team. It's about who you know that will give you hookups. And that was heartbreaking. We were the players that would be at the 6 a.m. practice. We would be there a half an hour to an hour earlier, and we would be on the ice skating. We had so much heart and so much drive to play the game that we loved and turn it into a career. We had so much heart. And my sister and I, we are not ones to make ourselves out to be great players. We're very humbled. Very. And, if we knew that there are better players than us, they absolutely take them before us. But when there's players that lack the skill but have the hookups, make the team, it's infuriating. It's heartbreaking. It's soul crushing. I remember that day after the tryouts, and I knew it was all due to politics. I've never wanted to break my hockey stick. Break my $400 hockey stick and just snap it. I was so angry. We were broken. But looking at the positives, it was a blessing in disguise. So I didn't have hockey. Hockey was taken away. Right? So I didn't have hockey. So I'm thinking to myself, man, Mom, the feelings are back. This is who I am. I'm a boy. I've always been a boy. She's like, okay. And she's like, but you need to focus on school. I'm like, Mom, absolutely. My focus is 100% on school. But I'm wondering, can we start the process? What if I change my name? She's like, okay, well, what are you thinking? And I'm like, threw out different names, and she was like, oh, what about Mark? And I guys, and the thought of this, like remembering about it, it was such a great time. Because my mom and I, we were literally we were collaborating on names, and I was just, it warmed my heart, it made my heart smile that I had such a supportive system. Having my mom, reflecting back from that moment, but pressing pause, okay? Which I left out. My mom and dad, when they split up, my dad moved to Sandy, Utah for a job. So my mom moved to St. Catharines with my twin sister and I to pursue the hockey program because we were promised that. We were promised a spot on the team. So that's why my mom moved, right? So that we could have the support. So for 5 years, she supported us, right? So it was just the three of us. We were the team. We were the rock. She was the rock for us that kept everything together, kept us humbled, kept us fed, and just kept us on the same track, right? So fast forward. name change. Said to her, I like Mason. My sister didn't like it because she said, no, you know what, you know what? Like, I wanted to name my child Mason. I'm like, well, I guess you can name him after me, right? So, anyways, name change was the first thing that I did. And a lot of trans men and women, that's one of the last things they do. But so I changed it, and not being born in Canada was a little difficult. So it took about it could take anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks, but then to get it right. But then if you get it wrong, they send it back. It's another 5 weeks. And I had made an error, and I was like, no. But guys, that moment that I got my certificate, I wanted to cry. Not wanted, I did cry. Thinking like, you're one step closer to becoming your authentic self. This is who you are. Right? Looking at me, do you think that I look 25? If those of you think that I am, I love you. If those of you don't, still love you, because I'm taking it as a compliment now. Taking it as a compliment that I look younger. But looking at my ID, guys, I look like a 16-year-old going into a bar. Right? So the things that we take for granted is our identification. For trans people like myself, to be able to go and change the gender markers and that name, guys, it means so much. We get our independence. We can go out. We can drive. We're not afraid to get pulled over because we know that this is who I am. I remember going to the bars and saying, yeah, bro, this is me. How are ya? My name is Mason, you know? Like, nice to meet you, man. Hey, you look super young in here. I'm like, bro, I know. Like, it's just the jeans. I always get it. I get ID'd everywhere I go, man. Right? When I was in university, in about my third year, is it third year or fourth year? I can't remember. It all comes down into one, guys. It's all kind of the same. But I unfortunately suffered a traumatic brain injury. I was knocked out at a bar. So I suffered a traumatic brain injury, which put me out of school for a whole year. And in that point of my recovery early on, right, I started seeing a new girl from work. And my mom wasn't too happy because I don't want anyone to think that my mom was very controlling, because she was not by any means. It was just kind of like, hey, you're jumping from girl to girl. Let's focus on school. You want to transition. Like, let's focus on one thing at a time. You know, you can't fill your plate. And I'm like, okay. So you understand what I'm saying, Mason? I'm like, you're right. But my problem was that I was really falling for this girl at the time. And she got me. And I felt so comfortable coming out to her and saying, well, you know, because she had said to me, you know, listen, like, I've never really dated a girl. And I said, well, just give it time. I'm telling you, like, things will be changing in a matter of months, so don't worry. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm a boy, like, I'm transitioning. She's like, oh my goodness, like, that's amazing, right? So at that point, you know, my mom had then told me, because I started acting very differently, guys. And if you know anyone regarding, you know, anyone who'd suffered a traumatic brain injury will know that people's behaviors completely change. The person that they once were can change forever. And I was really changing. I was getting angry. I was just like, I was irritable. I would be in a fight or flight mode. I'd have, you know, I had PTSD. Like, it wasn't great. So my mom had said to me, you need to pick. You need to pick either this girl, or you move out. Ending a relationship with this girl, or you move out. Like, you pick. And I chose to move out. Because I had been talking about it. Like, I'm ready to leave home. Like, I don't want to be here. Like, I'm so ready to be on my own. Right? And do I regret what I did? No. Do I regret in how I chose to go about moving out? Absolutely. I had put a wedge between myself, my sister, and my mom. I had broken a relationship. Like, it was my fault. And I went through a period of time, guys, where I was super depressed. super depressed moment where I felt like, what's the point of living? Like, it got to a really dark place, to a point where, not that I needed to be admitted by any means, but it was a point where I felt like, what's the point? I'm this person that has ruined a relationship with not only one person but two people that are closest to me, and I'm not the guy that I want to be. Like, why is it taking so slow? Right? But I'm with this girl. So anyways, I moved in with this girl and her roommate, and it was great. Right? It was a path that I needed to take. Learn about myself and learn about those around me. Which, to this day, guys, I've got an amazing relationship with my parents and my sister. It's completely different. It's changed because it's transitioned into something that is so amazing. It's a different relationship, especially when you leave the nest. That's a completely different relationship. You learn to value the people in your life a lot more and value the things that are in your life. Right? So I struggled, guys. I struggled. And even in that relationship, I struggled. There was a lot of things that came with it. It was, like being transgender, like being in a relationship, there's that dysphoria, feeling like you don't have all the parts. You don't have the total package to make this person happy. But then it sucked when you're with someone who wishes that you really did too. It kind of made you feel like a piece of crap for not having it. And then therefore you hate it on yourself. I think a lesson to be learned, guys, is that there are plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty. And if someone is not going to make you feel like you have it all, they are not worth your time. You need to understand that it's an absolute blessing, an absolute privilege to be a part of someone's life. Everything's temporary. And you being a part of my life or someone being a part of your life, it's all temporary. And if they aren't bringing any value or showing how much they appreciate you, and vice versa, you have no reason being in that relationship. I learned the hard way. I did. I ended up moving in with this girl into our old apartment, and my sister later on moved in, which was great. But it wasn't great. Things happened. I have no point. Like, I have no, like, I didn't do anything. She cheated on me. So that really sucks when you live with someone that you really like claim to love and literally envision like proposing to them. They were the one for you, but you weren't the one for them. So in hindsight is 2020, but I dodged a bullet. Right? I'm now with an amazing girl. Her name is Coral. She is so supportive. She makes me feel like I have it all. She doesn't make me feel like I'm less than. Doesn't make me feel like she doesn't treat me like I'm less than human. There are moments where she's like, Mason, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. When you're fully clothed, like I forget that you don't have that. And our closest friends got to that point too. They're like, dude, you look like a guy. You talk like a guy. Lord knows you think like a guy. And I take that as like, that's just so amazing, right? Like I just, I'm being myself, and they can see that. They've seen the transition from who I was before to who I am now, right? Being with someone who loves you unconditionally, loves you for you, is so important. Is so incredibly important. It can either make or break you, like emotionally. Like I said, she makes me feel like I have it all, that I don't need anything. And she said to me, whenever the next surgery you want, I want you to know beforehand, Mason. I want you to know that you don't have to have a penis in order to be with me. You don't need to have a penis in order to be a man, because you're already a man. You are better than the men that I've been with. You love me for me. I'm not gonna judge you for not having the parts that you should have been born with, but you don't have. That's not your fault. And I'm going to support you any way that I can. My girlfriend has supported me through my chest surgery that I had. And she has, like, she's a nurse. And so she knows how to do all the holds and all the dressings and stuff. So she was literally an absolute angel. And like, she did so much for me, guys. Like, there's no, like, I'm lost for words, because it's just like, how can you meet someone so incredible that who wants nothing but the best for you? That will tell you when you're messing up. I have no problem telling you, like, you better get your act together. This is not the path that you were meant to take. This is not the path that you should be taking. I know you. You're not in your head. Get out of your head. You're amazing. Let's go. Get your act together. And when you have someone like that, if you're with someone who's going to push you to be better, then and only then will you know that you're in the right relationship. If you've got someone who's going to call you out on your business, if you're not acting right, if you got someone who is going to love you unconditionally at the end of the day, doesn't matter, like, they accept you and all of you, then you know that you're in the right relationship, right? We all want to be in an amazing relationship. We want to be loved. We want to feel needed and cared for, right? Like, it's inevitable. We all want it. We're humans, right? But understanding that if you're not being valued and you're not valuing those that are in your life, something needs to give. Something needs to change, right? You can't be unfair to yourself, and you can't be unfair to those that are, that you're in a relationship with. You can't do that. You need to look back, reflect. What am I bringing to the table? What do they bring to the table? Are we two complete people coming to the table? What I mean by that is, a lot of people think that, oh my goodness, this man or this woman complete me. They complete me. They're my better half. There's no such thing as a better half. I'm sorry, but to be frank, I think they're just a load of cow dung. All right? They're one person. You're one person. You're a whole person that's coming together with another whole person. You should be able to overflow each other's cup. Overflow with love, passion, commitment, trust, inspiring each other. That's what it comes down to. A lot of people think that relationships are just, like we take them for granted, guys. And we're too afraid to step away. If this person's not valuing me, I'm not going to sit here and entertain it. Say, you know what? I've learned so much from our relationship, but I need to focus on me and what makes me happy. And this relationship right now is not working for me. So let's take a step back and reevaluate later. You can do that. I've done it. And it feels great because you know that you're in control, that you know what you want. And that no one can ever take that away from you. No one ever can tell you that you're not worth it, that you're not sexy, that you're not handsome. Because you are so worth it. It's not even funny. And if I could reach through the phone and give you all a hug, I would. Because you guys are all so incredibly amazing. All right? Just let's enjoy the ride. This ride called life. Let's embrace it. We're so lucky to be on this planet. We all have a purpose. And if you don't know what your purpose is yet, guess what? It's okay. Because you're going to get to a point in your life where you're going to know what that purpose is. And once it's hit you like a ton of bricks, you're going to be like, I knew it. It was meant to happen. Everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. We need to embrace failure as a good thing. It's a great thing. It's a moment, an opportune moment for you to learn about yourself and those around you. Love it. Embrace it. Fail epically. I want you to fail. I want you to fail. Guess what fail stands for? First attempt in learning. Think about that. Look at the positives out of each and every situation. When you do that, it's going to change your mindset. And one of the videos that I posted earlier, guys, on my page is the only disability in life is your mindset. It's a poor mindset. We can do anything we want to, as long as we put our heart, mind, body, and soul into it. It's crazy. It's crazy. But a lot of us think that it's something that we can't do. It's too hard. Being happy is not hard. Loving yourself is not hard. Right? How do you expect to love others if you can't love yourself? That doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. Love yourself. Love yourself enough to know that if you're being your true authentic self, if you haven't told people or come out to people and you need to, and you feel that you need to, and that you have this desire to tell people, just do it. It doesn't matter what others think. It doesn't matter. Like you're gonna let that one person out of how many people that live in this entire world dictate how you're gonna go about living your life? No, you're not. You're going to be your true self, which I almost left out. The moment that I told my dad during, my traumatic, recovering from my brain injury, I sat him down at the park and I said, listen, this is who I am and whatnot. And my dad said, what? I had no idea. Are you sure? Like you're not going to change your body, are you? I'm like, I am. And he said, well, why would you do that? I'm like, because I'm a boy. I've always been a boy, Dad. He said, what are you talking about? And I'm like, asking Santa for a penis, wearing boys' bathing suits, being a tomboy, not having a girlfriend. Not to say that being trans, that you have to be dating a girl. I'm not saying that by any means. But for him, I'm literally putting the pieces together. And he's like, oh, still didn't get it. Right? Just be your authentic self, guys. You owe it to yourself.